So my name is SHIMON WARONKER. Thanks, Matt. And just raise your hand if you were a teacher or you. Okay. Elementary school? Middle school? High school? So we got a nice variety here. What I'm going to share with you, in some ways, may seem the nirvana for teachers. This is a Hasidic man talking about nirvana, but that's for another story. And what Rob said just now really leads very nicely into what I'm about to share with you. So I'm going to begin with A Nation at Risk. It's not a cliched document. It was a document that had a tremendous impact on education. Basically, it said we have unilaterally disarmed. It's a tremendous statement that this bipartisan commission wrote, and it led to a stratospheric increase in funding for education. If you notice, in the latest data from 2010-11, the per pupil nationally is now 12,608. And before the report, if you look at 1970, it was about a little over about 5,500 on constant $2012. Yet our results have not increased, even though the input has increased. And of course, the question is why? How could that possibly be? And I'm going to show you what the challenge is. If you look at the challenge, we have a great turnover of teachers. In 5 years, about 50% of the teachers leave the workforce. This is almost like a fast food restaurant chain. People just don't stay. So you can't build capacity. So you don't have people who really know the profession and can help others. The cost is tremendous to the country. It's a drain because we have to constantly be training new people who are just being churned in and out of the system. Just out of curiosity, who here taught less than 5 years and left? Is that interesting? Not going to ask you why, but there are a lot of reasons why. There's a lot of research that has been done as to why it is that teachers leave. Job satisfaction, top-down structure, feeling isolated, low compensation. There's a myriad of factors that are involved in the reason why people leave. Teachers don't feel valued oftentimes in the schools that they're in. Moreover, the demands on what we're asking our students to do, and now I really want to use that beautiful language in terms of organizational growth systems that Rob just used, because the reality is we all acknowledge that what we need today is dramatically different from what the schools were designed to produce. Schools were designed by a very specific purpose. I'm not going to go into the whole history, although I studied it extensively. Basically, at this point in time, schools are designed to produce factory workers. Who remembers sitting in high school, the bell rings, bing, math, bing, science, bing, English, and you move like a widget along the assembly line. And one course has nothing to do with the other, because you're not supposed to have the big picture. Although, in reality, everything should be coherent. The history is combined with the math, is combined with the science, because things don't happen in isolation. The reality is you're not supposed to have the big picture. You really shouldn't know why things work the way they do. Just raise your hand if you know how glass is made. And this is a fairly educated crowd, right? Only a couple hands know how glass... This invention has been around since Roman times. What I'm sharing with you is that the educational system we all went through in the United States whether in private schooling or public schooling, is not designed to produce human beings who can lead their own lives without being told what to do, when to do, and how to do it. It's a system design. However, nowadays we're asking our students to come out innovative, to come out collaborative, and yet there's a single teacher in front of students. How do we model collaboration? We don't. How do we model innovation? We don't, yet we're demanding that from our students. Teachers have little flexibility in terms of even learning. You're stuck in a classroom, right? How the heck are you going to learn how to improve your instruction? Who here has sat through professional development workshops and felt like you wanted to stab your eyeball with a pencil? Why is that? Because it didn't pertain to your needs. The system wasn't designed to help you grow. It's not its purpose. Its purpose is for you to control the classroom. If you can control it, you're fine. Now, every September you have a new crop of students. That crop of students, you don't know, you got to learn who they are. The students have got to learn who you are. This is system design. You're not supposed to have a relationship with the students. There are reasons for that. I'm not going to go into them. But the bottom line is you lose 20% of the school year just trying to figure out who the heck is this student. That's an enormous loss of instructional time. Yet we take it as a given. So we have minimal practical training. We have scant planning time for our teachers. We have no long-term incentives for people to stay in the profession. And yet we're demanding innovation and collaboration in our classrooms. This is the solution. I'm going to share with you right now, Leo Casey, Randy Weingarten, many folk are supporting what we're doing, as well as Joel Klein and others. You're all saying, what? Randy Weingarten, Joel Klein are supporting something? Well, this initiative right now comprises 2 district schools and 1 charter school. And in this solution, teachers are no longer isolated, they're working in teams of 4 to 5 teachers. They stay with the students from kindergarten through 5th grade. Just think about that for a moment. They have 5 weeks of summer training together as a team. They have an hour and a half of collaborative time daily so that they can plan as a team. They have a master teacher embedded in every classroom. So if you're a brand new teacher, you're never alone. Just imagine that. You're actually treated as a learner. Because adults are also learners. And if we don't treat our adults as learners, we create a system design in which people really aren't learning. And if the adult is not learning, I don't think the children are learning as much as they could. Our theory of change is if we focus on the adults and we empower the teachers, and the teachers are in a learning environment, that in turn will turn into student achievement. Simple, right? But very difficult because it requires reorganizing the entire system. If you notice, they're no longer in isolation. But teachers have been trained since day one to work in isolation. How do you get them to start thinking as a team? Not easy. We had to spend a lot of time planning. In fact, up at Harvard, we began that process. We gathered a whole host of premier educators to try to figure out how are we going to begin to teach teachers how to work as a team. So there's deep training that we do with the teachers around reflective practice and around communication skills. The teachers have incredible autonomy and empowerment in the classroom, so they decide which curriculum they want to use. Imagine that. You're not told by a principal what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, or when you're going to do it. You as a teaching team notice what the students need, and you meet the needs of their children that you have. We also have a career ladder. If you look in your packets, we have a very short contract that I'm a little proud of, that Leo Casey and the Department of Education, and it took years, I'm going to share with you. It is very challenging to pass a contract. Not just because you have to get the labor and management to agree, but you also have to get City Hall to agree. Because City Hall has the Office of Management and Budget, and they want to check whether the numbers work out. And guess what? We pay our teachers incredibly well. Our first-year teachers make $50,000. Our second, third-year teachers make $60,000. Our fourth year and above make $75,000 to $105,000. A master teacher, potentially a fifth-year teacher, makes $120,000. Not bad. Why? But it's one system. Notice, it's not the only thing, because you could pay people a lot of money, you're still not going to retain them. There's a charter school that's in New York City that's paying teachers $125,000. They're not retaining their teachers. In fact, one of their teachers came over to us. They burned them out. They worked them really hard. The reality is, if you don't work in a team, it's a lot harder. With a team, you're learning from each other. The job is shared. And there's tremendous pathways for growth. Because a person now can say, wait a second, if I'm a talented person, I don't have to wait 22 years and get a doctorate to make $100,000 a year. If I'm really good, I can make $120,000 in 5 years. Now that's a profession. But notice, we're trying to keep talent in the profession. But in order to keep talent, the way you retain it is if a person feels valued. There's nothing better than if you walk into a room and you're with your teammates who love you because they admire the work that you do, and you're admired daily by fellow adults. So if you notice, there are tremendous benefits. I just want to share one particular benefit that I really like in terms of the relationships that happen. I don't know where you all taught, but all three schools of ours and where I had my career have always been frontline schools, meaning high poverty rates, high crime rates, difficult neighborhoods. Most of the frontline schools, the family home is broken apart. A lot of foster care children, a lot of children living with aunt or grandma, and they have challenging situations at home. And so usually there's one adult at home who tells them what to do, when to do, how to do it. They never see adults collaborate for their benefit. Just think about that for a moment. They don't see it at home, and if they come into a traditional school, they only see a single adult, again, telling them what to do, when to do, and how to do it. So in terms of systems theory, what happens? How can you demand that child to learn how to collaborate? How will they ever lead successful married lives when they've never seen it? Here, because they're seeing four adults collaborating for their benefit on a daily basis, they can see how adults disagree. They can see how adults mend relationships and work together. You have to model. Come on, we know as educators, one of the tools in education is modeling. We're missing that in the traditional school system. So just sharing with you where the three schools, we serve right now over 1,000 students in 3 different schools, one in District 9 in the Bronx, which is the poorest congressional district in the United States of America, Morrisania. The other 2 schools are in Brownsville, in close to Crown Heights. I walk to that school. And the other school is in East Flatbush. If you see the demographics, it's mostly free and reduced meals, mostly Hispanic and African American. And these are our results so far. Now, we've only been around since 2010, and that was our first school. The other 2 schools, one district and one charter, just started last year. So it's very early to tell. But one thing I'm very proud of, New York City does a parent survey, in which they ask parents, would you recommend this school to another parent? In all 3 schools, 100% of the parents either agree or strongly agree that they would recommend our schools to other parents. In fact, in our flagship school, which we began in Brownsville, there are parents from Manhattan, from Queens, Caucasians, sending their children into a black neighborhood school because we have terrific teachers. And our model is speaking for itself, and the parents are sharing that with others. and nothing's better than word of mouth. The improvement in terms of Fontes and Pinnell reading scores has been phenomenal. The students are doing 1.5 to 2 years. Oh, great. Thank you, Matt. I'm sharing with you that so far early results are showing efficacy, and the teachers are feeling that efficacy. And that's how we retain top talent. But as I just wanted to say, what Rob said is A, it's hard work to make change, but B, unless you look at compensation in a holistic way, it's useless. You can pay people lots of money, won't mean that they're happy or they'll stay. Matt, thank you.
Thank you.